You watch
Everything else you rate high.
Oh, thanks. So you're watching Savannah Raven there like everybody else. In fact, you saw her in the Players Lounge. I mean, for a young player that talented, and she made a mark here a couple of years ago in the Open. That's not a great sign for her for the future.
That had started to leave. You know, she had started to get more in control of herself in matches because she has so much talent, but that temper has always been a problem. And she'd be winning matches, start to lose a few points, and just burst out with, you know, so much anger and wouldn't be able to control herself in the match and concentrate. So that was very disappointing to see that today.
Well, Amelie Mauresmo, who we'll see under the lights tonight, it strikes me she's the almost girl of women's tennis. Great talent, great. Almost reminds me a little bit of, not in terms of her glamour, but of Gabriella Sabatini, where she had a great game and everyone was waiting for her to break through, and Gabby finally did.
She finally did.
1 year. Is Mauresmo that kind of player? Is she going to break through 1 year?
You know, I hope so because she has so much talent. I mean, she has all the games. You know, she has a really good serve. She moves extremely well. She's a very talented athlete, can volley extremely well, and that's fun to watch. But right now what she's dealing with is, I think, in between the ears when it gets later on in matches, because that match we just saw against Serena Williams in the semis at Wimbledon, she was up a set in 3-1. Now this match, the finals of the Olympics, never was really in the match. Look how far behind the baseline she is there. And Justine Henin-Ardenne just had too much firepower that day, too much ammunition, and controlled the match.
Yeah, the Wimbledon match, as you see here, of course, it all started 5.5 years ago when she burst on the scene, making that unexpected final in Australia. And to me, the difference was, if you see 2 years ago when she made the semis at Wimbledon, Serena steamrolled her. This year, she played and she competed and she was right there with Serena. And I thought, to me, that seemed to be a major step forward for Amelie.
Very much so. And step forward is what she's doing, because she's moving closer to the baseline. She's being more aggressive. She's coming into the net more, and that's when she plays her best tennis. The problem that she's having in some of the later rounds is she has such a big swing when she stands closer to the baseline. The players that hit so hard, sometimes she doesn't have enough time. I talked to her coach earlier this evening, and he said, you know, they're trying to shorten her swing when she gets that close to the baseline, but it's something that's a little tough to do when she's 25. But she is trying to be more aggressive, and that's one of the reasons why she's had more success this year.
And this year, she has risen to #2 in the world, but the big thing for Amelie Mauresmo is making her mark in one of these, in one of the big championships. So she's coming up against Francesca Schiavone, and now let's go back down to Al.
All right, to bit better, we turn to this Expedia Who Am I profile. Expedia.com. Don't just travel, travel right.
Who am I? Francesca Schiavone. I'm 24 years old. I come from Italy, Milano. I love to drive fast. I love to play attack play, but sometimes when I need to defend, I love to run and I try to put the pressure to my opponent, so I try to take the net. I like to play the colpo sotto le gambe, that is shot under my legs. Sometimes during my practice, I practice that shot. She's a great player. She's #2 in the world. When we play, it's always tough. We run, we fight, but I like to play against her. I have a good feeling when I play against her.
For more Expedia.com player profiles, log on to US.
Bruce Jenkins, a very talented writer for the San Francisco Chronicle, wrote a magnificent piece today. Look it up online about what it's like in New York on Labor Day weekend with the U.S. Open every year being the focal point of it. And it really captured, I thought, a lot of what we try to communicate, how great it is this weekend in New York. Under the lights. Now, Francesca Schiavone, right there, Tracy. Now, I'm not sure she would have shared that sentiment last year when she needed, no player was more hurt by the incredible rain, the unprecedented rain last year than Schiavone and Ai Sugiyama, who had a match stretched out over 4 days.
Unbelievable. I mean, at one point, Sugiyama was up a set in 5-2, and luckily for Schiavone, it rained. Then they would go out there the next day and like have a warm-up or maybe a game or two, and then it would rain again. And finally, on the 4th and final day, Ted, Sugiyama was up 2-love in the 3rd, and a ball kid threw a ball across to the other side and hit the chair umpire, Lynn Welch, in the face, hit her glasses. She was bleeding. They had to stop for 10 minutes, threw Sugiyama off completely, and she lost the next 6 games. But 4 days to finish the match.
Well, they're the Vitals on the young lady from Milan. I'm envious. Wouldn't you like to be from Milan too?
Sounds pretty cool to me. They wear a lot of boots there, by the way, Ted.
Okay, touche. And Amelie Mauresmo, who has risen now to #2 in the world by being healthy, first of all, Tracy, and by being very consistent. She doesn't have any magnificent wins on her resume this year, but she's been consistent out there playing winning tennis.
She's beaten Jennifer Capriati a couple of times. Justine Ardan in that semifinal, one of Justine's last matches before she was out with a virus. But Amelie has won 3 events this year in Berlin and Rome and Montreal, all of those tier 1 events. And she's been very consistent, like you said, Ted. 8 out of 12 events that she's played, she's at least gotten to the semifinals. Yep. Marissa Irvin in the first round. Bakalenko, tough 3-setter, was not moving her feet during that match, not playing aggressive tennis. And Vento Kabci.
Well, things have really turned over this weekend here in New York. It is very cool tonight. And this almost always happens at some point during the Open. We have a couple of nights that really feel like fall, and this is the first one.
I thought it was cold today in the city.
Well, but you're from Southern California.
I know. I need my sweats out there today. She's chilly.
Yes, she is. And there's what's at stake here, the last quarterfinal berth. In the bottom half, Capriati and Serena will meet yet again. And the winner of this match to play Elena Dmitrieva. Of course, quarters will get going tomorrow with a much anticipated match between Lindsay Davenport and Venus Williams. It'll be a round of 16, and then, of course, up top, defending champ Kuznetsova-Pierce. An interesting match, don't you think?
That is an interesting match. Kuznetsova so young but so talented, but Pierce really starting to come into her own. Finally healthy for a good stretch of time.
So set to play with Schiavone to serve first. I mean, talk about what Schiavone did here last year by making the quarters. The last Italian woman that had done that was in 1934.
Wow.
So that was a pretty serious tradition she bucked. And I'm looking at her now to see, because last year when she was playing here, she did not have any endorsement contracts as a top 50 player. Looks like she may have added a few since. Now that she's a top 20 player.
Number 16 in the world. She's had very solid, consistent results this year. She beat Mauresmo in Warsaw on clay in the quarters in 3 sets. That's the only time that she's beaten her. Lost the other 3. Actually, very similar styles of play. Just, wait, not ready. Asking whether I have 1 or 2 serves.
for Schiavone to start the match.
First game.
Amelie Mauresmo now 25, and her best run here was in the semis 2 years ago. Again, you caption that almost.
But she's getting closer. You know, when she won in Montreal, when she got the trophy and got the check, in her speech, she looked over at her coach, Loïc Courteau, and said,
Amelie Mauresmo,
I'm getting closer. She was 2 in the world, and that's her goal, to get #1.
Well, she's been very candid about the difficulty she's had playing at Roland Garros, where even though Mary Pierce won representing France 4 years ago, there's still so much focus on Mauresmo. And Amelie at Wimbledon this year came right out and said, look, I'm going to have to break through at one of the other ones.
Right.
That's where I'll have to win my first one before I think I'll be able to win at Roland Garros.
To take some of the pressure off. There's so much pressure on her in France, a lot like Tim Henman in England.
15.
And remember Virginia Wade? And Virginia Wade, there's a lot of pressure on her, but she had already won, I think, in Australia and in the U.S. Open before she won Wimbledon on something like her 16th try. The reason why there's a little more pressure going into the French is because she's had years where she has some great clay court events, you know, where she wins, like Berlin and Rome this year. She looks like she's playing so well on the slow dirt. You know, you're right. She has been candid, and I just give her so much credit for her honesty, because about 3 or 4 years ago, the same thing. She had won the lead-up tournaments to the French, win in there, and lost first round to Yana Kandar. And she, you know, she talks to a sports psychologist now, and she says, you know, he helps me a lot, and is honest about it.
First double.
You know what, Ted? Believe it or not, she's dealing with a little extra pressure here at the Open, because she's one of 3 ladies that has the possibility of being #1 at the end of the U.S. Open. And Nordin can keep the #1 ranking. Amelie Mauresmo can become #1, or Lindsay Davenport. Meskina had a chance, but lost early.
And even more amazing, the 5th seed could be #1. Someone's got to explain that to me. So now suddenly break point off of 2 double faults.
Second set.
Well, that's an awfully good 87-mile-an-hour serve.
Last time it happened where the #1 was on the line, 91, Celis, Graf, and Sabatini. Celis won the French, secured the #1 spot.
Mauresmo dodged the break point and holds in her first service game. Well, coming up after the U.S. Open, we swing back to one of the fall's great sporting events, the Ryder Cup. And the Ryder Cup back on U.S. soil this year in Oakland Hills, Michigan. And you'll see first day coverage as always on USA Friday, September 17th at 8 a.m. Eastern. As always, opening ceremonies will be here on USA. That'll be Thursday, the Ryder Cup. First round on Friday here on USA. And then, as always, Saturday and Sunday coverage on NBC.
Ted, last night we did Bovina and Davenport's match, and I talked about it must have looked like they were playing in a mirror because their games were so similar. This is a little bit of the same. One-handed backhand with a heavy topspin, can slice. Both move extremely well, and both actually like to go to the net. Finish points off at net.
My heart's beating too fast here. One-hand backhands, and they both like to go to net.
Yeah.
Actually, for all the talk of Justine's one-hand backhand, Mauresmo is very pretty to watch too.
It is. It's right behind it, I think. Both gorgeous, but Justine has a little more pace on it, can flatten it out more. Finishes that point off at net, and it's interesting because Schiavone, her last coach about 2 years ago, she wanted to go to the net. She wanted to be aggressive, and he kept telling her not to. He said, your game is at the baseline.
Schiavone's very sturdily built, 5 foot, between 5'5" and 5'6", gives away a couple of inches in height to Mauresmo. So we start. First 3 games are holds of serve on Ash. Francesca Schiavone playing for a spot in the women's quarterfinals. And then later tonight we've got Leighton Hewitt, past U.S. Open champion and a talented left-handed Spaniard. We just saw one the other night, Rafael Nadal. Well, another one, Feliciano Lopez, a seed. And he'll be Hewitt's opponent tonight.
That was an impressive match the other night. Roddick, the way that he started out against Nadal, he was sending a message quickly.
Yes.
See Amelie Mauresmo with the abbreviated service motion. One of the reasons is because she's had so many problems with her back out for portions of 2001 and 2. Mid-Australian Open this year, she had to pull out. Couldn't play her quarterfinal match. Doesn't swing that arm all the way down, or that racket head down towards the knees.
erotic.
Right.
Hasn't hurt Andy one bit.
But she's doing it for her back.
Right.
I talked to Loic Courteau right before the match, and I asked him about it, and he said she just doesn't bend. There's Loic. He's been with Amelie for about 2 years now, and he said she just doesn't bend his back as much and get so much torque on that back. And he also said that she has a better rhythm. They watched some videos on her serve, and she just feels more rhythm doing it this way with a shorter swing.
She's made more errors on the forehand so far, Mauresmo, but she's got a lot of power.
Yeah, actually, I've been looking at her stats for the last few matches, and actually way more winners on that forehand side. She has such a gorgeous backhand that you would just think that she would have more winners on that side, but usually it's 1 or 2 or 3, like 8, 9, or 10 winners on that forehand side. So sets it up with the backhand, finishes it with the forehand.
Take a look at the line. Clearly good, as Hawkeye shows us.
Ted, you hear so many stories about kids moving to Bollettieri's 7, 8, 9, 10, and maybe one parent leaving the home wherever they are and going with them, and the early goals basically of whole families. With obviously some great results, but Schiavone so different. Born in Milan, parents moved to the south of Italy when she was young. And she was just chomping at the bit to be a professional tennis player. Wanted to get out there on the tour, and her parents wanted her to continue her education. Didn't think that she could make a career as a tennis player, so she left home and went to an academy in Milan from 17 to 21.
Serious rally, and the forehand finally wins the point for Mauresmo.
30-40.
Long rally, mostly up the middle. Then Mauresmo widens the court a bit. More pace on that forehand.
Well, the track record of Schiavone explains her nickname. In Italian, they call her Leonessa, the lioness, because they said she's fought for everything she's ever achieved in tennis. Came from a family with modest means.
Oh, brings it back in with topspin. Not sure if that was a lob or passing shot, but it worked well. Just out of reach. Yeah, Renato Vavasori, who's a former player on the tour, he was head of that academy, and he gave her the belief. She didn't have a great junior career. makes that form. But so often we'll find, you know, that one person that believes in a youngster and moves them along. That's where she comes off the baseline, gets it on the rise. That's kind of a nice story, that she really had to struggle and made it through, played ITF events for years before she finally made it to the WTA Tour.
So Mauresmo, it's the first break.
Oh, Capital One.
Well, Amelie Mauresmo trying to make her name more well known among the elite in the tennis community in America. Trying to do it at America's Grand Slam.
Some paper floated down out of the stands.
Mauresmo is playing this year, and she's played well, but with a little emotional burden. She lost her father in March, and the candidness that you referred to, Tracy, of Mauresmo's life caused a rift with her family. She would split from them for a while, and the rift had finally healed in the last year, and it was even more painful because not long after that, her father passed away.
Yeah, in March of this year, and the candidness was about her relationships. It was really nice that they were not estranged anymore at the end. And her mom came to the French Open.
30-15.
That was pretty gutsy at 19. That's kind of when everything came out.
It had to come out.
To come out at 19, and she came out of nowhere as a tennis player. I mean, she was unseeded there and got to the finals at the Australian Open, 99.
Boy, those couple nice pickups by Schiavone, and Mauresmo handled them all. That holds for 4-2. Well, the women's fourth round match starts our night, and then Leighton Hewitt, as the men's third round winds down. Well, he'd like to be the #1 seed. That's from another year, but he's certainly one of the top contenders, and he'll face Spaniard Feliciano Lopez.
Ooh, right at the shoe tops. Mauresmo with some great passing shots. Because she has that top spin, she has the ability to dip it just over the net and make it go down at their feet. Just like that again, but Schiavone's there, blocks it for the winner.
15-0.
Second ace for Schiavone.
You know, and Ted, and talking about Mauresmo's passing shots, how she's able to dip them down, that's just such an asset. One thing I'd like to see her add to her game. She has no ground strokes winner yet in this match, just to be able to flatten them out as well. to that backhand with more pace. She can flatten out that backhand more than she can that forehand. And that's, you know, something that Justine Henin can hit over it, and then when she wants to try to hit the winner, she can flatten it out. It's nice to have that variety.
Well, Schiavone's first set may be hanging in the balance right here. Mauresmo all over that second serve, and now she has a break point.
30-41.
It's a great backhand volley. Look at the depth on it, and then moves forward. Pretty big swing. Almost missed it. I love the way she moves at the net. And that's a killer.
Yeah.
You get the break point in a 92-mile-per-hour first serve and bunt it long.
Was she expecting more, do you think?
No, I don't think so.
That dropped good.
Gets it. That's that top spin. That looked like it was going wide. Just brought it down. That's her first ground stroke winner. That was a better serve,
Yeah.
about 106.
Much more pace, but the same result.
Right, and Mauresmo most of the time doesn't take big swings on the return. That's another thing I'd like to see. Meaning I should say she bunts it back. I'd like to be able to see her shorten her swing, but still hit a powerful stroke back, not just slice it. That's more defense, the slice on the return.
Flirt with danger here. Third break point.
I think one reason why she doesn't take a crack at it more often on the first serve is because her swing is so large. She doesn't have time for it. And that's what her coach said that they're trying to work on. Sometimes being able to shorten it. Amazing she found an angle.
Yeah, now is that? Help me on this. Was this what she was trying to do?
I don't think she wanted to be quite this good. I mean, she's basically on the left of the middle of the court. It was definitely good, but it was just an amazing shot.
Yes. On break point.
That's called living dangerously. Schiavone's average first serve for her first three rounds is about 98 miles per hour. The fastest gets up to about 112.
a fourth break point in this game. Whoa. Schiavone fires in her third ace.
Whew. So close.
She's living way too dangerous in this game. Too many opportunities she's giving Mauresmo.
She gets a lot of balls back, very steady. And this is the one that goes long after she ripped the backhand down the line.
Yes. Well, you can see that tenacious quality that she possesses, Schiavone, in this game. I mean, she hasn't really not played a good game.
But she fights.
But she's played her best on the break points.
Right. She fights so well.
Done. I don't know how she won that game, but Schiavone ends up holding her serve. Mauresmo, though, still has a break in hand in this first set. Sunday night here on Labor Day weekend. It's interesting. It's a weekend that so many New Yorkers head out. They go elsewhere. It's the sort of the final kick before school, because here in New York, unlike other parts of the country, school traditionally begins on Tuesday, the day after Labor Day. See, Tracy, your boys, has Dylan been in school already?
No, they have another week.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
In many parts of the country, school's already started. But yet there's so many visitors, so many people who come to New York. For the U.S. Open, and they sort of have the run of the city Labor Day weekend.
It is. It's quiet. Nice time to go shopping.
See, it's the last free weekend. Yankee fan. Notice how nervous Yankee fans are right now.
Oh, Chad.
See, Met fans, they don't have that same problem right now.
They're nice and relaxed.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Ted, you asked after the last game, how the heck did she win that game? Just from pure fighting. I mean, people on the WTA Tour, they talk about Francesca before a year or two ago. She was really difficult to work with because so many, her life has been very tough. She'd be in the middle of a press conference and just get up and leave in the middle of the press conference. But new coach.
An Argentine.
Daniel Panajate. It's really helped kind of bring out her personality, much more relaxed, and really didn't trust people before, was wary of them, and so now she's hilarious. Got a great sense of humor. She sneaks in so well.
40 point.
I think Mauresmo would be a great player, as you referenced earlier, coming to net. So athletic, graceful.
And technique on her volleys. So good, so sound. You don't see that many women tennis players right now. No serve volleyers, but you don't see any that have the great technique that the Justin Enardans and the Mauresmos have.
This is her third double. Mauresmo has come to net 12 times already and won 9 of the points.
Schiavone makes you work hard. She just gets so much back. And some of it without pace. That heavy top spin making Mauresmo create the pace.
What a great get by Mauresmo.
She was moving to her right. And she had to twirl around and hit that volley.
This is also a test of her back.
Yes, very much so. There, she had that right foot moving to her right and then lunges at the ball and controls that racket head. Look at the effort from Schiavone. Love it. Smart serve there, took the pace out of it, just went for short in the box, 89 miles per hour. Averaging 100 miles per hour on her serve tonight. Mauresmo at 109. So Mauresmo doesn't have that same kick as on that serve, that same power as a Serena or Davenport or Venus when she's serving big.
Well, Schiavone had to work so hard in her last service game. Now quickly to 40 love.
Game, Schiavone.
So we'll see Mauresmo try to serve out the first set when we come back to prime time at the Open. Amelie Mauresmo,
15.
that's been the secret of her success in this first set, Tracy. When she gets the first serve in, 3 aces obviously, but the first serve Schiavone's not been able to touch.
No, she's only lost 2 points when she gets that first serve in.
30 left.
.112 on the IBM serve speed gun. We'll get our first chance tomorrow night under the lights to see the defending champion, Justine Henin-Ardenne. That will have put all of the contenders after tomorrow night. All of the main contenders will have played on the big stage.
Game and
Roger Federer will also play tomorrow night. Tuesday night, I have a feeling we're going to see Andy Roddick. And we'll hear from Andy Roddick when we come back. No. You wear them because you can. Well, quickly, trouble for Schiavone here. Facing 2 break points to start the second set.
First game, second set.
Well, Mauresmo has a break of serve here to start the second set. So let's take a look at a couple of points from the first set.
Mauresmo up at the net where she was very successful. She's also been serving quite well. 4 aces so far in the match. Schiavone, look at how she changes direction. Mauresmo, so athletic. Schiavone also trying to move on in and finish points off at the net. Quick feet, changes directions very quickly.
What she'd like to do here, Tracy, now take this quick break of serve and turn it into a less dramatic second set. That's Mauresmo's 4th double.
So what you want are more winners than unforced errors.
Next.
You also got to wonder if that #1 ranking, Ted, is on Mauresmo's mind, because Justine Henin's got a lot of points to defend here from last year.
We've discussed this in reference to other players. Most recently, Kim Clijsters last year, is that you can, some computer can spit out and tell you you're #1, but to me, it's all about winning here. That's what people will remember.
Right, but they'll also remember that Kim Clijsters was #1 in the world last summer. Well, she'll remember it.
She'll remember it, absolutely, and it's nothing to trifle with. I'm just saying, at this level, though, these players play to win these things.
Oh, yeah, that's what it's all about. some people were, upset that Clijsters got to #1 in the world without winning the Grand Slam.
Well, I was saying we've discussed it with
event.
them, with when Rios became #1 on the men's tour, same commentary.
But with Kim, it was all about consistency. I mean, you spit in the points and computer maneuvers them around, and out comes Kim Clijsters at #1 because she was the most consistent for the last 52 weeks.
Well, next Saturday, that's right, college football season, and one of college football's great rivalries on NBC Sports, Michigan and Notre Dame from South Bend next Saturday, 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific. You didn't notice last night, I had on a blue shirt and a gold tie. You didn't notice, Tracy.
I didn't notice, and I was the one who told you to wear the blue shirt.
And you notice what I'm wearing tonight? Black. I'm in mourning.
I'll have to pay attention a little bit more to what you're wearing, Ted. I'm sorry. We're talking about Clijsters. Mauresmo lost to Clijsters here last year in the quarters. She's going to be coming back, hopefully. She's supposedly, Kim Clijsters, going to be playing a tournament in a couple weeks in Belgium.
That's great news.
It's great news.
If you can get Kim back now and all of the women playing again at the same time.
Healthy at the same time. Just be
right.
Amazing.
Once you
so
throw
many
in
injuries.
Sharapova and Meskina now having won a major.
Can't remember when so many top players have been injured at the same time or throughout the last year.
I haven't noticed, is Kim here rooting on Leighton Hewitt?
She is. I saw her the other day.
Okay. Well, she'll have a chance to root him on here shortly on Arthur Ashe Stadium as he takes on Feliciano Lopez.
Because Mauresmo got to the quarters last year, I mean, she doesn't have as many points to defend. And the reason why the WTA isn't starting to spit out some examples of what might happen, who might be #1 at the end of the tournament. First of all, we're not far enough along, and also you get extra points by beating players ranked higher than you. If you're ranked #1, you beat somebody ranked #1, you get way more points than even #2.
Well, that's exactly what Mauresmo's wanted now, and suddenly she can see the finish line.
You can email with friends, but how do you keep hackers from sending you viruses?
Anniversary of Chrissy's last U.S. Open.
When you see her 3 boys and how old they are, then you realize. I think Alex is about 13.
You guys are trading a lot of notes, aren't you?
We are. I'm learning from her. She's got 13, 10, and 8. I've got 8, 6, and 3, so I'm behind her.
Well, suddenly that fight, Schiavone has been diminished. And Mauresmo 2 breaks up 4-love in a very quick second set.
Talked about very similar games. Mauresmo just a little more power on her ground stroke, a little more power on the serve, a little better at the net, a little better angles to widen the court.
Well, Mauresmo is within reach of now is a quarterfinal match with Dementieva, who beat her shockingly in the quarters of the French this year.
The momentum in that point switched about 3 or 4 times. You thought Mauresmo was going to win the point here.
30-15.
That called for a lob. Schiavone so close to the net.
That was the only shot she was going to be able to hit, right? Cross court.
Yes. That extreme Western grip and the ball getting down so low.
This adds a little flair to the one-hand backhand.
Love it. You see two-handers do that. Not too often one-handers.
I'd love to see that at Roland Garros and see how French television would frame that and show it to us in slow motion. Oh.
17 different ways.
Yep. Now Schiavone on the board in the second set. Mauresmo, though, needs just 2 games to advance.
Mauresmo, 4 games to 1.
Major climb to try to make the quarters back-to-back years here. Schiavone did spend some of her time growing up playing on clay courts in Milan with Silvia Farina Elia.
Currently ranked
Did you play
21.
Raffaella Reggi?
I don't remember. I'm sure I must have. Raffaella Reggi. Huge personality. She was so much fun. Rita Grande still playing on the tour. So Raffaella, I think she was doing some TV over at Wimbledon a couple of years ago.
I always remember Vitas and talk about his matches at Foro Italico with Adriano Panatta.
Vitas, by the way, have we done anything on him? This is the 10th anniversary of his passing. Oh, I miss that guy. Italico was pretty special to play. You look up and there's the marble statues in all 4 corners. I was 16. I played the Italian, played Chris Evert in the semis. Long match.
Now Schiavone getting a little hope here. There's 4 top Italian men. Most recently, Gianluca Pazzi, who reached 26 in the world at the age of 53. It was a heck of an achievement.
He was only 43, Ted. Wow. He struggled that game.
Well, Mauresmo still has a break, but that is not a good-looking game at all. 2 double faults in the set, 5 in the match. we'll see if Schiavone can find some more of that fight, because if she can hold her serve here, it will be very interesting to watch Mauresmo serve the next game.
So that's the return where she just kind of bunts it back. And again, that serve 98. I mean, it's a good serve, but not a great serve. That's where I'd like her to see it take a little bigger cut at it. And because she's so good at defense and tracking so many balls down, Mauresmo, she can get away with that bunt back forehand where she just chips it up the middle and it kind of floats.
15.
That's her 5th ace.
30 up.
Backhand. She gets down to it so well. Turns that shoulder.
34.
She gets that racket back early. Just brushes up nicely. Look, she either gets that good depth or she hits it halfway between the service line and the baseline and gets some good angle.
Ooh, right into the body. Denies Mauresmo a break.
Yes.
Schiavone just hasn't been able to impose her will at all in her service games. Way too many break chances for Mauresmo. And there's the break back, so Amelie Mauresmo will have a chance to serve for the match. And following Mauresmo, Leighton Hewitt on court in primetime at the Open.
Experience Vanity Fair.
Prime time at the Open on USA. Presented by American Express, and Amelie Mauresmo trying to close out Francesca Schiavone.
There's not enough firepower in the game from Schiavone. She can get a lot of balls back, make win most of her matches by moving her opponent around, finishing some points off at net. She has a good serve, but you said she's not able to impose her game today against Mauresmo.
Well, Amelie Mauresmo now at 3 match points. Point should be like.
That was great effort from both players.
And Amelie Mauresmo through in straight sets.
She should be happy with her play tonight. Served well. And the grunts from Schiavone and the effort level. She whips around, gets her bearings, and smart to hit it deep up the middle. Not take too many chances there. And then the point starts all over, brings it back to neutral, rips it up the line. Look at this effort. Mauresmo back on the offense, and she chases this one down. Looked like there was an opening, but Mauresmo's there with the winner. And actually smiles from both players after that point.
Again, that's what you dream a match point should be like. Wonderful play by both, and Amelie Mauresmo is through in straight sets. And Amelie Mauresmo now joins us from the court. Congratulations, Amelie.
Thank you.
This is the 4th time you played Francesca this year. Was that a help to you at all tonight?
Yeah, and I know her game pretty well now, and I know what she likes to do, and she hates when I put some pressure on her. Sorry, I'm still.
We understand.
Well, that was a great match
on
point.
that last point, yeah.
That was fantastic. Amelie, you played well tonight, I think. Were you pleased with the way that you played?
Yeah, very satisfied. You know, again, I wanted to put some pressure on her, make sure that she doesn't dictate the point, and make sure I'm in control, and that's what I did tonight. So very happy. I felt very good on this court at night, so very good.
Amelie, you know, we spoke a little bit during your match about the fact you're trying to win a major here, but you also have a chance to be #1 at the end. Talk to you about the importance of those two things.
The main thing for me is really to win the slam. I think the rest is going to come. You know, if I win here, for example, I know I'm going to be #1 for sure. So the court is what's important for me, and I know I have to play well like I played tonight to go one step further in the ranking.
Amelie, you must be feeling full of confidence. You won Montreal, a Tier 1 event, finals of the Olympics, and you're so fit now. You've been fit for a while. Your back hasn't bothered you. So how's your confidence level? Yeah, so far.
I cross my fingers. Yeah, you know, I feel very good. I had a great moment in Athens a couple of weeks ago. Gives me a lot of confidence to come out here and perform at my best level like I did tonight. So, yeah, a lot of confidence, and actually it's getting better and better as the tournament is going for me.
All right, Amelie, let's ask you quickly about your upcoming match. Now you faced Dementieva, who beat you at Roland Garros this year.
I have a revenge to take, and I'm ready for that. We'll see.
All right. Well, Amelie, congratulations, and thank you. Amelie Mauresmo through, and you can see, despite the Roland Garros loss, still a great career mark against the French Open finalist Elena Dementieva. So that's a pretty good quarterfinal grouping right there. But for Amelie Mauresmo on this Sunday night in New York, she's a winner.
J'ai vu ton mec avec une autre fille. Il semblait dans un autre monde. Pour te cacher sa dégueu. Quand je t'ai revu l'été, j'ai décidé. décidé.